What it do? What it do? Nation Militia crew. What's good? What's good with everybody, man? How's everybody been? We have a lot to talk about. The Las Vegas Raiders have decisions. The draft boards are changing by the day. Should the Raiders go defensive tackle? Should they go right tackle? Should they bring in another guard? Should it be receiver? Who do they pick at pick 36? Do they trade back? What do they do? We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about some receivers and guys that I think fit the Las Vegas Raiders. So, what I did is I went through and I looked at everybody's, RAS scores. I looked at film. I looked at their hand size. I looked at their route running, their size, their speed, all the intangibles you need to be that number one X guy. And we'll break down what I came up with, right? All these guys are what I look for in an X receiver, right? Long arms, big hands, good catch radius, right? Guys that can create separation, all those things you need to be that X guy. So, who are those guys? We'll get into that in a minute, but shout out to everybody in the building. Angel, what the hell? I can't need my glasses. Angel Eyes, Greg Brewer, what's good? Appreciate y'all pulling up. Short notice live stream. It's been a minute since I've been on here, but shout out. I think my hat is tripping, bro. I might have to do something with that. But yeah, so lots of receivers, man. Lots of receivers. Now, why did my phone say it was on? What I did is I went and I excluded the big three, right? Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, Jordan Tyson, right? I eliminated those three. And I probably should have eliminated the one we're going to talk about first off because, I don't want to keep everybody waiting. But we're talking about the first guy, the first fit. And, it's not a if, it's when he goes in the first round, in my opinion. He's going to go in the first round. D Money was good. But we'll get into it. So, yeah, like I said, the top three I took off because I don't see the Raiders moving up in the first round to get a guy. Now, there is that possibility that they don't draft Fernando Mendoza and they trade back. That would be crazy. But we haven't heard any talks from the Las Vegas Raiders that say he's our guy. We haven't heard Clint Kubiak say he's my guy, right? I'm in love with Mendoza. That's the pick. We haven't heard anything from the Las Vegas Raiders. And usually, way before this time of year, other than the so-called guys that know it all, Abakasi Raider was good, was good. Other than the top guys that are in the know, right? Those insiders that report the Raiders are taking Mendoza. The Raiders haven't really said it's a lock. We haven't heard anything from Spytech. We heard a little bit from Mark Davis, saying how good he was. He wore number 15, like Tom Flores, right? We've heard all those talks, but there's never been anybody that said straight out, the Raiders are taking Mendoza on the Raiders side. Now they're just keeping it hush hush. Spytech said he's listening, so there is that possibility. But if not, do the Raiders go defensive tackle? Do they go offensive line? Everybody still thinks we need guards. I say, I think the guards will work, to start the season. If not, then, you go sign somebody or you make a trade or you do something. But I feel with Rodgers, with JPJ, we just brought in Buford. They still have Meredith. Those are four guards that could start, I believe, on a lot of teams. Will they start for the Las Vegas Raiders? That's left to be seen. But so where do they go? Where do they go? Well, if you're looking at receivers outside of those top three, of course, the number one, well, my number one guy has always been Denzel Boston. I know he didn't run the fastest 40, but he creates separation. And we won't go into all that. But it's Omar Cooper out of Indiana, right? Like I said, it's not if, it's when he goes in the first round. Who picks him? Is it the Rams? Is it, a team like the Washington Commanders? There's a lot of teams that can use the Omar Cooper. And I just don't see him being there when the Raiders pick at 36. But he's the number one guy, right? Clocked in at a 4.42, which surprised everybody at the combine. He's 6 foot, 204, has solid hands, right? Has good body control. As we've seen, the Penn State game where Fernando Mendoza threw the ball out of the building and he went up and got it like he was Randy Moss. Solid hands, good body control, excellent contested catch ability. This hat is going to drive me nuts. If it's driving y'all nuts, let me know. If not, whatever. So yeah, we all know Omar Cooper. He's the guy, right? Reliable route runner, can definitely be that first guy, that first down guy that moves the chains, finds the stop spots in traffic, high volume guy, red zone nightmare for defenses and guys trying to cover him one-on-one. A lot of one-on-one in the red zone. So one-on-one, he's a nightmare. But Omar Cooper is probably out of the range, and I probably should have made it the top 4. But Denzel Boston is next on the list. Is a guy that a lot of people, some people are saying because of his 40 time, might fall out of the first round. If he falls out of the first round, that's crazy. But if he does, the Raiders got to move up, man. If it's a couple spots, move up, get Denzel Boston. I think he could be that X guy, 6'4", 212 pounds, huge hands. Not the best speed. He ran a 4.6. Was it an off day? We don't know. Could he been dealing with something? It could have been a lot of things, man. To get enough sleep. Maybe that's his real time. We won't know. But tape speed, he seemed a little bit faster than a 4.6 to me. I wasn't thinking he was, bottom range 4.4s or nothing, but 4.6. Anyways, he plays much faster vertical, has strong hands, catch radius. We know all that, right? Great route running, super clean for his size. When it comes to route running at 6'4", I feel separates well, reliable hands, low drop rate. I mean, another red zone monster with his size, 6'4". Denzel Boston has been my number 1 receiver since the draft started. I just feel like the other guys are out of reach, and he's a guy that could possibly maybe fall to the 20s and 25 or something, and the Raiders say, man, we need an X. This is our X, right? You don't have to be the fastest guy. You just got to be able to create separation, open the field up for the rest of the guys like Brock Bowers, Jack Besh, Trey Tucker. I'm going to keep saying that if he's still here because you never know with Trey Tucker, man. There's a lot of guys that might change a lot of things. Do you think they trade and take Ty Simpson? We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. But a guy that's growing on me a lot, and I keep saying this, is Chris Brazzell, Tennessee. I really feel like he's that guy that they believe Dante Thornton was going to be, year 1. And wasn't it, just wasn't that guy? Was it because of the quarterback? Was it the coaching? Was it his route running? Was it his hands? There was a lot of drops from Dante Thornton, being a rookie, but from a 4th round pick, you don't expect too much more than that. I think Chris, Brazzell, I'd be surprised if he makes it out of the 2nd, honestly. He's a freaky athletic, legit top speed. He ran a 4.37. You can definitely take the top off defenses. At 6'4", 198. He has very strong hands, big catch radius, wins contested catches, all that good stuff, right? Contested separation, despite some conciseness, but still, separates really good. His route running shows flashes of separation, especially in the vertical. Definitely, like I said, a deep threat. And huge upside as an X. I mean, with that size, that speed, decent route running, right? If you can just, be in be in the gym every single day, be out on the field, work on route running with good wide receiver coaches, with a coach like Kubiak, I think that's a great fit. I really do. I think Chris Brazzell, could be a sleeper. But as we've seen on the title, do the Raiders take a guy at 36? Do they take a guy at 67? Do they wait till the 4th round where they have 3 picks and maybe try to get a sleeper, if some of these guys fall, which you never know where they're going to fall to? Sometimes you just got to take those chances, right? But I like Chris Brazel. I really do. I think he's, the hell. I think he's one of those guys that can develop into something special with that speed, the size, the arm length, the strong hands, the catch radius. I don't know how many times I probably should have counted them, and I probably should have pulled up some clips. Maybe I'll do that. I think I could show a couple second clips without getting in trouble or whatever. Um, and I keep forgetting to drop shit on my Discord, man. I apologize. I get it together. I get it together. Um, but on film, man, lots of Mosses, right? If you don't know what a Moss is, Randy Moss, they used to have that show, You Got Moss, on ESPN or NFL Network. I don't remember which one it was. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you know which one it was and remember. But as a dude that a freak athlete with that size, if he's there at 36, and you need an X receiver, can Spytek and Kubiak and the rest of the crew say no? That's going to be hard, right? That's going to be awful hard. And maybe they don't think he's a second round receiver. Maybe they think he's a third round receiver. Is he going to be there at 67? That's that's an even harder decision, right? So, um, yeah, definitely a guy that I like a lot. Also, next on the list is KC Concepcion. Blazing speed, right? Not blazing, but I mean blazing enough. 4.46. Definitely twitchy burst, excellent acceleration. He's electric after the catch, separates well. Intermediate and deep routes, right? You can put him in the slot, you can put him outside, it doesn't matter. 6 foot 196. I think he's strong enough to be that X receiver at the next level. His biggest problem, I believe, was holding onto the football. Now, when the ball hits your hands, you got to catch it, right? So that's a problem, but those things can be fixed. Is it worth taking a guy 36 overall when the Raiders really need a defensive tackle, really need probably another edge rusher? They need a corner. In, in my opinion, taking a corner in the second round at 36 would probably be the best route for the Las Vegas Raiders defense. You know, give your new defensive coordinator and Rob Leonard a guy that can come in and shut down one side. You already know Eric Stokes can shut down the other. Let Darian Porter develop. Let Kai Blue Kelly and those other guys, develop, play the slot, maybe play a little bit more of a safety role. Could work, right? But let me know how y'all feel. Where do you think the Raiders should go? Should they go wide receiver in the second round? Um, what else do I got? What was that? What was that? His route running is sharp. He posts high catch rates in space. A dynamic playmaker. Um, great speed to pair with our existing weapons, like a Brock Bauer, like a Trey Tucker, right? Like a Jack Besh. I think having those four guys um, on the field at once would be a nightmare for defenses. And then Chris Bell. I got Chris Bell. That's my number 5. The speed obviously speaks for itself. 4.44. Paired with that size at 6'2", 222, right? That's a big receiver. That's a guy that is strong, is physical. He's gonna win on contact. He's gonna win the 50-50 balls. And I really like Chris Bell, man. The more I watch it, but then again, do you take him at 36? Do you take him at 67? Let me know how y'all feel about any of these guys, where you would pick them. Chime in. I think wide receiver would be a good addition to the team. So yeah, man. And like I said, my traits are big hands, because if you have big hands, it's a lot easier to catch the football, right? It's a lot easier to make those one-handed insane catches that you see so many receivers make nowadays, right? If you have those big hands, it's a lot easier to make those two-handed catches on smaller or bigger, defenders, whether it be safeties, whether it be corners. Catch radius, like I said, massive, physical at the point of attack. Catch efficiency is contested. Spots and strong route. Um, where was I? Shit, my bad. Um, yeah, to create separation, physical mismatch. That's what I seen pretty much anytime he was, one on one. There wasn't too many guys where he wasn't a physical mismatch against. Now in the NFL, can you be that? We don't know, right? We don't know. Um, what else? What else? Yeah, great body control, reliable hands. Could be a steal if he cleans up, and polishes some minor issues, which would be catching the damn football, right? That's your job. That's what you're going to get paid to do, right? That's why you're going to be drafted. That's what everybody expects you to do. That's what they're counting on you to do. Just catch the football. Catch the football. So those are my top five, man. Let me know. Do the Raiders go receiver or do they wait to 67? And, you know, my number one guy there would be Elijah Surratt, a Malachi Fields, who is another guy that's physical, 6'4", 218. He ran a horribly 4.6 time that I thought was going to be faster at the combine. But again, speed doesn't always matter if you can create separation, if you know how to, if you know how to bait receivers, if you know how to, you know, if you're a good route runner, the speed doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it's great. It's great for those deep passes. It's great if you're the X guy. Yes, you want your X guy to have speed. 4.6, I don't think is, elite at the NFL level, but I still like Malachi Fields. I really do. Um, he has big play burst, plays vertical in the red zone, very dominant, high catch percent of in traffic. Another guy that's just a nightmare mismatch when it comes to anybody trying to cover him in the NFL. Yes, these guys are going to be bigger, faster, and stronger. It's going to be a lot different. But Malachi Fields is one of those guys that I think at 67 would make sense. Jeremy Bernard is another guy. Jeremy Bernard. I talked about this before. I really think he's that, blue collar, hard hat type guy, blue chip, like I said, blue collar, hard hat guy that reminds me a lot of a Jacoby Myers, right? Not blazing speed, not going to blow you away um, with that, but he's a guy that can play the slot. He can play the X. He's physical. He has good hands. I think he only had 4 drop balls last year. When Ty Simpson struggled a little bit towards the end of the season, his production was great the first 7, 8, 9 games. But then it just those last couple games it started to drop off. Some say he had a back injury and a rib injury. That'll be a big reason why you can't throw the football accurate. If you're Ty Simpson, but yeah, Jeremy Bernard I think is one of those guys, a flex wideout. Not really, that big X if you want, the speed. Um, but this next guy is Antonio Williams out of Clemson, explosive after the catch, real speed, sub 5 flashes. I don't know what his combine. I forgot what it was. Um, and improving hands. Right, he got better throughout the season. I believe cleaned up drops big time recently. I watched the tape from last year and the beginning of the year, and it looked like he was a lot more consistent. Catching the football. And at 5'11", 190, man, I really like Antonio Williams. I really do. I think he could definitely be that X guy. Um, what else do I got? Slot heavy but versatile, right? I know we don't need a slot, but at 5'11", man, 190, you can play the X, really. I mean, in my opinion, if you have good enough route running, right? Good enough knowledge of the of the game, right? Good hands, good catch radius, which I think he does. Has quick feet, burst yak ability, short passes, big plays, reliable. Producer, a producer who fits definitely our needs. Dynamic separator. That's to go without saying. But this guy right here, man, Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. A sleeper with big play juice, 6'4", 206 pounds. Um, Strong hands and contested catch prowess. I've heard the comp George Pickens. I don't really know if I like that comp. I've never really, watched them both back to back. Haven't really watched too much film on Pickens, so um, I don't know about that. But route running shows physicality and a vertical threat. Speed plays, speedy plays, fast downhill, catch efficiency, and jump ball red zone situations is elite for his level. Could be a late round gem. I don't know how late Ted Hurst is going to go. 67, probably somewhere in there, is probably his cap. I don't think he gets past the Raiders. They haven't picked a receiver already. Um, so yeah, man, those are my guys. Let me know what y'all think, how y'all feel about any of these guys. Should the Raiders pick a receiver at 36? Should it be 67? Should it be the fourth round where they have 3 picks? Yes, we got Dante Thornton, Jr. at the fourth round. Was that a John Spytek pick? This is my question. Or was it a Pete Carroll pick? Because if it was a Pete Carroll pick and he can't catch the football and he doesn't have a big enough route tree in a Kubiak system, I don't think he's going to work. So we see it all the time, right? Guys are drafted and the very next year they're let go, especially from the Raiders, because we have a new coach every single year. When you have a new head coach every single year, you have new players every single year because those guys usually don't want the players drafted by the other coaching staff or the other GM. Not too many teams have a coach and a GM turnover like the Raiders do every single year. I think this is the first year we've had a GM in the building in the last 4 years, 5 years, back to back. So, yeah, that's a problem. That's right. That's a big problem. Yeah, and then you got, what he says the Raiders need the biggest thing, a nose guy. You need a nose. We need a true nose. Is that really the case? Is that really the case for the Las Vegas Raiders? Let me explain. And I've said this before. We talked about it a couple times. I don't know what this is going on. Is this any better? That ain't helping either. Oh man, this hat is tripping me out. All right, let's rock with that, I guess. Um, Now I got a big line on my forehead. I don't know. Anyways, so a lot of people saying the Raiders need a true nose guy. Now we have Tonka Hemingway, who's that fall technique, played more on the outside, kind of as that edge guy for us. I thought he should be on the inside, right? More of a 3 or 4 technique, but that's just me. JJ Pegues is a big guy that can play that position. You also have, Tyree Wilson. I know he's not, quite big enough, but I think he's strong enough to play the nose. And, with those long arms, good enough to take on the double team, I would think, right? Not the greatest burst, not going to get to the quarterback. He's a guy that you can move all around. So where does Tyree Wilson fit on this? But I'm looking at if you have a defensive nose, right? A general nose. Um, I think last year the nose had like 158 snaps for the Las Vegas Raiders under Patrick Graham, right? I believe they had 116 snaps under a Mike McDonald defense in Seattle, the true nose guard, right? I believe Rob Leonard is going to kind of emulate those two in between. And I've said this before. I think, I don't see a true nose being on the field more than maybe 35% of the time, right? So, do you need to draft a true nose this year? Do you need to draft one in the second round? Can you find one later in the rounds? if y'all check my mock draft out on X, I have a guy that I think I would take way, well, not way too late, right? But a guy that I think fits the Raiders. It's like 6'8", 330, 340. Big D tackle. That, depending on how the draft falls, depending on how the stock goes up, could probably be there, right? Could be sitting there in the fourth round when we have 3 picks, right? 3 picks in the fourth round. Well, I think the Raiders need a corner. I really do. It's been a long time, a long damn time. Somebody know in the comments if you know. Without cheating, the last time the Las Vegas Raiders took a corner in the first round. It's been a minute. They've taken one in the third round, Jacorian Bennett. They've taken Decamerion Richard, I believe, in the third or fourth round. They've taken who else? Who was the other guy? Not Decamerion Richardson, but the other guy they drafted that played 1 year that's not even in the league, I don't think anymore. Typical Raider fashion. Typical. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I got a hat right here. Hold up. This is much better. Oh. All right. All right. Much better. Much better. Much better. That damn hat and the green screen was totally just totally killing me too. Killing me. 2020. What? 2020. Oh man, I don't. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Damon Arnett. Okay, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. When was the last time the Raiders drafted one in the first round that was actually worth um to air he breathe? No, that's too much. That's too much. I won't say that. But yeah, man. All right, so if you're looking at defensive guys, you got Cade McDonald. I like Cade McDonald. I really do. A true nose guy. But again, if you're playing nose tackle 33% of the time or less, right? Do you really take a guy in a second round? I say no. I say no. So um there's definitely a lot of these guys. Christian Miller out of Georgia, if they do go second round, I believe that's the pick. Um I did a million mock drafts, and I feel like if the Raiders don't go the way that I'm about to go right now in this mock draft, I feel like if the Raiders could walk out of this draft, if they decide to take Mendoza, right? Mendoza, Max Ehinacor, and Jennings Dunker. You put Max Ehinacor at right tackle and Jennings Dunker at right guard. And you run the hell out of the ball to the right side with Ashton Genty over and over. He might have 300 and something touches. No. But if you give him 220 touches and you bring in another back that has another, 50, 60 touches, I think that's a successful year, right? I really do. You have a rookie quarterback that never played under center, but 3% of the time in the NFL. It's going to be a learning curve. And, I've said the same thing. You don't draft a quarterback number one overall if he has a learning curve, right? If it's not 1 or 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 or 5 games at the most, you don't take him number one overall. If he's sitting for a year, you trade back and take a guy like Ty Simpson, or you wait till next year, or you take one later in the rounds like Taylor Green and see how he works out the first year. And, see if you see enough upside from him to think, damn, maybe we could roll with this kid for a couple years and, get something out of him, right? Maybe you go that route. But if you're telling me the Raiders go walk away from this draft with a Max Ehenicore and Jennings Dunker on this offensive line, somebody's getting traded, right? You're not keeping 15 offensive linemen. You're not putting JPJ or Caleb Rogers or, you know, Buford, who you just signed. And just because you signed this man and he has familiarity with, with the Clint Kubiak in his system with the 49ers, right? Doesn't mean this guy is a day one starter and doesn't mean he makes the roster, right? More than likely he does. But with that being said, you keep what? A guard that can play backup center, or you have to keep a center on the roster just in case something happens. But if you have JPJ there, he can play backup center. I don't think that's the problem. So you only need one center on the roster on the 53. You probably got to have, you know, four guards. That's five guys. And, it would be wise to have two tackles, one on each side, and have nine guys out there. Is that how they go? I don't know. But um, Jennings Dunker would be a steal at 36, right? Would be a steal at 36. Some people's got him still in the third round, because he was listed as a tackle. They're going to move him inside a guard. I don't care where he plays. You could put this man at center, and I think he would be just fine. I mean, I really do. I think he would be a nasty center if we didn't go get Linderbaum. That would be my plan. You hear a lot of talk about Caleb Lamo and, Fano being moved, inside the guard. Some are saying that he would be, a great athletic center at his size. I think it's a little light at 308 pounds, but um, yeah, it would work for me. So let's talk about um, before we do this draft real quick. Let's talk about corners, man. Corners. Where do these corners fall in the draft? Right? You got Menasor Delane. Some have him number one, some have him number three. Some people have him, inside their top five. He should be in the top, everybody's top five. I think the 4.4 speed, 6 foot, 187. Definitely would like to see him pack on some pounds, right? Play a little bit heavier, a little bit more aggressive. Avion Terrell at five, the 4.39 speed at 5'11 is a guy that jumped up boards. It was, Gerard McCoy, Colton Hood, Chris Johnson. Those were like the top three or four guys for a long, long time. It's kind of flip flop to, Avion Terrell, Jermon McCoy, Colton Hood, Chris Johnson, even Brandon Sisse, has been talked about as teams moving, taking him in the first round, right? And if that's the case, then you got guys that are possibly falling, or you have a lot of corners going in the first round. Now, I don't know I'm sure all these guys are first round corners. I don't know who I wouldn't take out of those guys that I mentioned in the first round. Kenneth Aubrey is another guy that could easily go in the first round. What I'm getting at is, the D'Angelo Pons. I mean, in another draft, right, where there wasn't so many options at corner, could possibly be a first round pick. There's a lot of talk that the Raiders really, really like him. I've seen some mocks where he goes in the first. I would take him in the second, probably later second for me, just because of the 5'9", 182, but the 4.35 speed, the aggressiveness, the physicality. I really like D'Angelo Pons. Keontae Scott, Devin Moore, Aiden Stooks, right? All those guys. You could get possibly a guy that, has first round traits, right? Speed, size, instincts at pick 36. You can possibly trade back from 36 and still get one of those guys. I mean, like I said, you're looking at the top, the top 8 guys, 7 guys, being crazy, just depending on what teams like. But I think all these guys Navy vet, what's good, my brother? Long time no see. It's been a minute. Hope you're getting a rest day. I heard you've been working like crazy. So yeah, I'm thinking the Raiders don't go D tackle. I really feel like it's gonna be a safety, a corner, or offensive line with the second overall pick. Now last year, Spytek traded back. He got his receiver in the second round in Jack Besh because he knew a guy like Jacoby Myers wanted out, and Jacoby Myers would no longer be a Raider in 2026, right? He was expecting that. I believe that's why Jack Besh was drafted. I believe he can be that guy, right? I feel like he has um, decent enough, route running and strength where even if the guy's right on him, if you throw it, high enough and put it where only he can get it, he has a good enough catch radius, strong hands, going to win the 50-50 balls. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jack Besh. I really do. I think Kubiak's going to um, know how to use this man, and don't act like he can't play the X because he got a bunch, I think 3 first downs playing X when we were running trips to the left, trips to the right over and over again. He was always the X receiver. And I paid a lot of attention. I watched a lot of film, and I think the dude gets separation for his size and for the lack of speed. I think Jack Besh is definitely can develop into one of those dudes in the slot. And then if you have that, and you have a guy like Jalen Naylor, homegrown boy from Vegas that was on a packed Minnesota Vikings team, was also on a Minnesota Vikings team that has been searching for a quarterback this year. They had 4 different guys start at quarterback last season. So they had that. 8-hour shifts, I'll be around more. Nice. Yeah, that's better than 12s, man. Those 12-hour days are rough. I hated working 12-hour days. Man, I would love Emmanuel Nick. I always want to say Nick Kimo. McNeil Warren. I like the kid. I think he needs to pack on some pounds. I really do. There's a lot of questions about where he fits. Um, you know, coming out of Toledo. Um, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, so a lot of these guys, man, the only cornerback, Mesidor Delane, everyone else is mid. Ooh, everyone else is mid. Okay, JPG, Lindenbaum, Dunker, all wrestlers. It would be nasty, bro. I'm telling you, that front line with JPJ on the left side, in between Colton Miller and Linderbaum, and Jennings Dunker, in between Max Ehenekor, bro. That's a nasty, nasty offensive line that you'd be able to run the football. They'd be able to protect your quarterback. They're all physical, just nasty, nasty dudes. And yes, absolutely. I think that would be the way to go. And yes, all wrestlers definitely, definitely love that, of course. Um, but yeah, there's some of those guys. Some of those guys. So I think the Raiders could easily. What the hell just happened? I think they could easily get a corner in the third or fourth round like they have before. And I know that Spytek likes those guys that you can draft them on special teams like they've been doing with DeCamarion Richardson. You know, is he ready to take that next step? He's been on special teams all last year. He had flashes his rookie year, on just bad defensively coached teams. I think everybody in the nation's complained about the way the rookies have been used over the last 3 years, not named Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, right? Not a lot of burn, a lot of development, which we should know because that's what Spytek likes, right? He likes to develop guys, draft those guys that are coachable, that don't already have, bad habits that you got to try to untrain those habits and then train new habits. It's just difficult for coaches. and it takes a long time, right? So you want those guys that don't have bad habits, that are, already have damn good route running skills, that have the intelligence to pick up the playbook, just like that. And I think a lot of these guys do. But then there's also um where'd that go? Fuck this 40 time go. A guy that, you know, I had my eye on. I was wondering, wanted to see how he looked. After all said and done, all the combine shit, after everything goes. I don't know why that keeps going away. Um, but Takario Davis, man, Takario Davis, 6'4", 194. Like, that's a bad man. That's a bad man. But to top it off, he ran a 4.41. 4.41. Sticky, physical, right? A guy that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. And I think they have him, like 13, 14 on this list. Um, if you watch the Washington, if you're a film watcher and you like to watch, all 22, or just watch full games, um, the Washington tape doesn't show, all his skills, right? I don't think it shows as well as he was in Arizona. But in Arizona, different coach, um, better style, better defense, right? But he's a man that, if he falls to the third round at pick 67, oh my goodness, it would be a great pick, right? But if you're the Las Vegas Raiders and you take a corner at pick 36, and this guy, D Money, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for the $20 holla. Shout out to everyone. Just win, baby. Raiders. Appreciate you, my guy. But yeah, Takario Davis, man. If you look at his Arizona film, I just thought it was, way better. Um, more pass breakups, right? They didn't, making guys not want to throw to him. Um, what else was I saying? California kid, right? California native. A two-way player in high school, right? So, one of those guys that's legit, played both sides. 26 catches for 463 yards and 6 touchdowns, averaging nearly 18 yards per reception on defense. Um, and then racked up 74 tackles on the other side. So, you know, a guy that's versatile, a guy that plays tough. In the Big 12, didn't slow down Davis. He started 11 to 12 games, had 44 tackles, 6 pass deflections, and was named second team All American. Um, 5 pass breakups against then top 10 Utah. Also earned Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, the Jim Thorpe Award. Again, and just a guy that, I think a lot of people are sleeping on his skills. You can put him as that strap down guy on the outside. I feel if you have to, you can put him on the as a slot, right? Covering your guy on the inside. A sleeper. Damn good tackler. Good, decent on the run. Um, Coverage. I mean, coverage can use some work depending on how he's used. But with the speed and the size, man, if you take a guy like that and you know, Rob Leonard played defensive, I think played defensive back. Clint Kubiak, I believe, also played defensive back in college. at a D2 school, D3, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I believe Clint Kubiak also played defensive back. So, I think he said in the interview, he'll always have that defensive side. When he's watching film on the offense, he'll always have that defensive side to him. So having that in the building, having good coaches, which I feel the Raiders, I really like this coaching staff, and I think they can get the best out of these guys. So if you're telling me this guy, like I said, falls to the third or somehow slips to the fourth round, which would be just absolutely crazy, run up there, trade, whatever. I think we have the first pick in the fourth round. So you don't have to worry about trading or nothing. You can just go get your guys. But go watch film on him if you haven't already. 9 1/4 hands, has 33 and 3/8 arms, which is damn good for a receiver. When you have those big corners you're going against, we talked about the 40 time. 10-yard split was 1.59. Yeah, not the great. He had a 37-inch vert, so not the most explosive. But a guy that I think fits, man. I really do. I'd like to see him get up, some about 10 to 15, somewhere in there, maybe. If you can still keep that speed as a corner. But a guy that I think definitely has all the traits to, if you don't have to throw him in there day one, right? You have a guy that's already in front of him, depending on, where you want to play him. And then one more. Is he even on this list? Hold on, I gotta find it. A guy that I know nobody's talking about, and I didn't even, I think I seen one game. Is he even on here? Yeah, I think I seen one game from him. And he's not on this list. Hold up. Why don't I have him on my list? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. All right, I think I have him right here. No, I don't. I don't have him anyway. All right, but a guy that just kind of popped up on Facebook because he ran a crazy time at BYU, and that is Maury Bomba. How do I say his? I don't want to mess his last name up. Bomba. Not a lot of burn, right? A guy that didn't get a whole lot of burn in college. Oh, here we go. I got his passport. All right, here. Yes. So very high upside. From BYU, has seen his draft stock skyrocket to due to elite physical traits, right? Stand out as his pro day. He ran a 4.27. I don't know why somebody said a 4.19. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I've heard. If that's, it doesn't matter. 4.19, 4.27. That's an Al Davis pick all day, right? If Al Davis, it wouldn't even think about it. He'd probably take him in the first round just based on traits, right? And let the rest come. But he is 6'3", 190. Possesses prototypical frame, of course, that all GMs want on the outside. Explosive athleticism. He recorded an 11.1 broad jump, which shows, he has great explosion lower on the hips, which you definitely want from a corner. He only played in 14 games, starting 2, recording 23 tackles and 4 pass breakups in his role, extending significantly as the season progressed. Now think about that. He only played in four. He played in 14 games, so he was only in key situations. But he only started 2 games. He had 23 tackles and 4 pass breakups. That's pretty damn good. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's damn good. Very damn good. Weaknesses. He lacks starting experience. Despite the long college career, he was primarily a rotational player, only starting 8 games over his entire tenure at BYU. He didn't record an interception at the FBS level, but come on, man, it's hard um, to get a reception or to get a timing on the quarterback, right? When you're not in the game constantly, right? Watching from the sidelines just doesn't say it all. D Money again with another $5 smackaroo. Appreciate you, my guy. Raider Nation 2026. Um, doubt all of us. Wait, what? Oh, doubt us all you want. We will ride together. We fight harder, silver and black, forever. Just win, baby. Yes, yes. Let me put this up here. Just leave that up there. Shout out to you, my guy. I appreciate you. Appreciate the hell out of that. Keeping the lights on in the building. Um, so yeah, the one interception definitely needs work. But I think if you watch the film and you turn on the film, I believe it was the Arizona game. Man, when he was out there, it seemed like run play, he's there, bro. He's already taking a step. He's already inching in, and the man's playing corner, right? And he's tackling guys in the backfield for loss. He's all over the field. For his size, he's a damn good tackler, very very physical, and I think he just has a lot of traits that fit the Raiders organization, man. And a guy that's not, wasn't too highly, but with the size, I'm sure a lot of people are going to go turn on the film as I did, right? And be like, what? Who the hell BYU? All right. So, yeah, I went and turned on the tape, and I would take it, man. I would take a chance in the third round, fourth round, just because of the speed and the size. The tackling is there, the football awareness is there, the instincts are there. Why he's not higher? I don't know. I don't know. Besides the fact that the inexperience, right, hasn't started a lot of games. Were the guys in front of him just better than him? Was it the coaching? Was he not a coaching favorite? Because that happens, right? Where you just on a roster at BYU that had all these great stars on the defensive back end. I don't see that. So, you know, but or is he just a late bloomer, right? There's some of those guys that, it takes a minute to process the defense. If you go from one school to the next, which he was at BYU the whole time, I don't know who the coach was there, or, if he was there the whole time he was there, or the defensive coordinator was there, right? Those things matter. So, was he just a guy that was a late bloomer? Um, we could see, but he likely needs to refine, technical footwork and zone discipline to succeed at the NFL level against NFL, route runners, which if you make it to the NFL, you should be a damn good route runner. Some guys just make it based on their RAS scores and, you know, their speed, which you should never do. But yeah, definitely a guy to go check out. I think he's projected, it says anywhere from day 2, third round to early day 3, fourth round. But with that 4.27 speed and 6'3", definitely Maury Mambo is a guy that y'all need to go watch. Keep an eye on, because I think he fits the Raiders. And if he just slips somewhere to the third round, and you have 3 fourth-round picks, it's not hard to give up one of those fourth-round picks and throw another one in there to jump up and go get your guy, right? So that's what it is. That's what I got. That's what it do. And let's do this real quick. I'm gonna get the hell off here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, let's do it all. Let's do it all. Let's go. Come on, load, man. Load. Load. Back to this bitch. Raf in the building. Hold on, before I share that, let me get to this. How you been, my brother? Raf, you don't have to do that. Appreciate you, my guy. It's been a minute. What's good, Rebel? Raf in the motherfucking building, like he says. Raf in the building. All right, so we have. This is not working. Hold on. Hold on. Um. Okay, let's go to that one. I need to get all these fucking ads off my shit, bro. Get the hell out of here. We're not doing the first overall pick, so we can just get rid of all these. All right, first pick is not gonna let me do it. And I have to take this down as well because y'all won't be able to see shit. Appreciate Rap in the building. Y'all go check out Rap's channel. I seen you over there grinding, doing your little workout, getting ready for the combine, putting on them guns. Rap gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary, all them muscles. Working for the team. All right, let's get to this. So Fernando Mendoza is the pick. We're not even gonna mess around with that. But we're gonna see how this draft falls. McCoy, Caleb Banks at 12, Makai Lemon, Akeem Mesidor, Cassius Howe. Avion Terrell is gone in the first. Let's pause it here at 25. Let's see what we got. So corners, there are Gerard McCoy, Mensor Delane, Avion Terrell off the board. Okay, let's just continue. I don't need to move up here. Resume draft. Jordan Tyson goes to 26. Casey Concepcion. He's definitely not falling to the third according to this. Let's pause it here. Let's see what we got on the board. We got Proctor, Miller, Chris Bell, Omar Cooper. Omar Cooper is still there at 33. All right, so if that was the fact, if Omar Cooper was there at 33, I would move up and get him. I'm sure the Raiders would as well. It's only a couple spots, man. But then you got my guy Max Ehanacore. He needs to be a Raider. I'm telling you, he needs to be a Raider. But this draft, we're doing it different. Go back, check out my other drafts. Him and Dunker have been taken, I don't know how many times. So we're doing this a little bit different. We want to see defense and what there is at corner. And right now it is Colton Hood, Kenneth Aubrey, Keontae Scott, Chris Johnson. Would be a steal for the Raiders. I like that as well. Let me know how y'all think. Really, I think we should move up for Akeem Mesidor, but that's just me. Let's resume. I mean, not Akeem Mesidor. I'm sorry, Ian Archer, Ehanacore. I don't know. I keep saying that. All right, Denver wants to give us 62, 111, and a second round pick. The value is there, but I'm not moving to the bottom of the second round. I just don't think that's a good idea for us. Let's reject that. 89, 129, a second, a third, and a fourth next year. I can't not take that, but I'm going to not take that. I just can't take that right there. So looking at the guys at the board, man, Kenneth Aubrey. Keontae Scott. I mean, D'Angelo Pons. I believe the Raiders might take D'Angelo Pons if he was here, and Chris Johnson. My guy Julian Neal is at 143. That's who I want. Tacario Davis at 180. I'd definitely take him. And I do not see Bamba anywhere on this shit at all. Is he not even a real player? No. He's not on here. Okay. Well. Swore he was a senior. And I could have swore he just ran his pro day. What the hell? Weird. That's weird as hell. But what do y'all think, man? Who would y'all take in this position? Would you go defensive tackle? Let's go back to all. Again, Lee Hunter is there. A lot of people like Lee Hunter, Zion Young, Christian Miller, Blake Miller, offensive tackle, could definitely shore up the right side as well. Ehenekor is gone. Where did he go? Did I miss it? I wasn't paying. Oh, no, he's right there at 49. 49. All right. Let's see. Who is. I wonder if the Chiefs want to move up. No, I should have took one of those trade proposals. I really should. I don't think there's a corner to take at second. Receivers. Who is left? Omar Cooper. You have to take Omar Cooper here. I mean, I don't see him anywhere he falls out of there. Chris Bell would be my next guy. And yes, over Elijah Surratt. Yes, I know the injuries. I know everybody likes Zachariah Branch and Skylar Bell. And you take those guys. Offensive tackle. I can't pass up Ehenekor. I really can't. I really can't. And where do we pick at? 67. Watch Jennings Dunker fall to 67. Damn, we should have took AJ Halsey. I didn't even look at safety. Y'all didn't even tell me to look at safety. Kamari Ramsey, Wheatley, Clark. Yeah, all those guys are gone. They were all gone in the first. Malachi Fields goes right off the board right before we picked. That sucks. I'm not doing nothing with the Chargers. 89 in the third to move out of the. Yeah, no, can't do that either. 67 it is. All right. Safety is definitely a huge need, and we probably should have went safety in the last round. The two guys I wanted were not there. I don't like Genesis Smith, man, and Zakee Wheatley, but I just can't go there. Corner. Ooh, everybody's gone. We will definitely wait till the next round to get a corner. Edge. We do need an edge. And Malachi Lawrence would be a great pick here. Joseph Sutton. I would take Height here, but I like Romello Height definitely at that position. Defensive tackle is Lee Hunter, Grayson Holton, Daryl Jackson Jr., Capart. I'm gonna tell you who I like. It is What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Who y'all got? All Bulldogs core. Go. Miller's gone. Can't take him. Rodriguez on the second. I just should have read these before. My bad. Is Rodriguez still here at the third? Let's try this. Why isn't it only let me drag and not let me select? This is pissing me off. All right, linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez is here. Let's take Rodriguez. It's 67. Let's take Rodriguez at 67. We pick again at 102. And I have a decision to make. Some of y'all, how y'all feel about David? He's gone. Never mind. Never mind. I don't know how y'all feel about him, but you don't have to feel too good about him because he ain't on the board. Corners are going, but not fast enough. Denver wants to give us 108 and 170. It's a decent value, but I'm not trading with the Broncos and giving them anything because I think they want this corner right here, Julian Neal. I feel like the Broncos would pick a guy like that, but they have so many corners. And I got to go corner here. What do we got at safety? Bud Clark is there at 118. I think corner it is, man. What do y'all think? Corner. And yes, I haven't picked not picked a receiver yet. Wait, what I got? No receiver. We might have to do that. Now, Dion Burks, Antonio Williams. Dion's sibling, I think Antonio Williams should be the pick here. I like sibling. I wasn't happy with his 40 time. He had a 9.9 RAS score, which I like that too. Let's go to the chat. What are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? Are you going to play Crosby at linebacker? I think they have to play Crosby at linebacker. You know, you can put him on the right outside, line him up at that ghost spot, and just let him attack defensive linemen offensive tackles on the daily. Are you trading this one or going straight up best player? I was gonna trade, but I decided to just go straight up and probably not best player. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I think Crosby could play the linebacker in this system. If anybody knows Crosby, it's Rob Leonard, right? He's been there 5 years now with the guy. They're best friends, you know, they talk all the time. They're constantly texting. So GeoMex, what's good? Raiders. If anybody can get the best out of Crosby, I think it's Travis Smith and Rob Leonard. I really, really, truly believe that. So I like Dion Burks here. Jacoby Lane at 155. 102. Can I trade? Nobody wants to trade with me? No trade proposals? That sucks. I need a trade proposal. All right, so Antonio Williams, right? Got to have a receiver here. Austin Barber would not be bad. Jude Bowery, I wouldn't mind either. Emil Wagner, we've done that before. Safety, Bud Clark. I would go here. Jason Kilgore, I would absolutely take here, but I think we can wait. And then corner is Devin Moore, Tredavian Stokes, Will Lee the second. I think Julian Neal is better than all these guys. I really do. I also think Tacario Davis is better than all these guys, but I'm not going to reach. I'm going to take a chance that they're going to be there in the next round. And I'm going to surprise y'all and go Antonio Williams. Not the best X, but he's a guy that can play the X, right? You can stretch the field. You have to move him around. If he's not the X, there's a couple guys you can make the X. It could be Brock Bowers. It could be, um, I think, Naylor can play there as well. I think Jack Best can play there. So you have options at that position. I feel. And at 117, we are now going to lock down a corner. I kind of like Will Lee. All right, what do we got? 2 offense, 2 defense. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Can't bitch about that. Skyler Howard. Wouldn't be mad at that pick either. Chris McLean. Not Caden Proctor. No. Xavier Harris. How is he at 200? All right. Xavier Harris is going to be the pick, but he's not going to be here. I'll take him in the 4th. But there's no way that this man at 6'8", 330 pounds with his wingspan, there's no way he falls there. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. But I just think somebody takes a chance on him. Somebody takes a chance on him there. Best available, we have Carson Beck. Nope. Malik Muhammad would be a nice pickup here as well. But I'm going to use my better judgment. Damn, that's a big swing. That's a big swing. Big swing. I'm going to go Bud Clark here. I think he works. I think he fits for what we're trying to do. Coverage-wise, safety, speed. Our next pick is at 134, and we have to go corner there. Julian Neal is on the board. But I'm going to go Takario Davis. I'm going to take Takario Davis. There's no way he falls this far. No way at all. And our next pick will be at 117. What y'all guys got at 117? What's that kid's name? Jaffe? Is Jaffe on here? I need to take him. I need to take him. Y'all see that kicker that ran a 4.47 and kicked a 70-yard field? Yes, I think we need that dude on our team. If Al Davis was alive, I could tell you one thing for sure. The man would be in silver and black. I'm just saying. He would definitely be in silver and black. All right, at 175, man. This turned out to be a pretty good draft. I think we got just about everything we need. We need an edge, and Max Llewellyn is there. We need a defensive tackle. We'll get that later. I like the edge. What do we got on offense? Oh, Bryce Lance. I'm taking that. I'm taking Bryce Lance now, too, as well. Because if Antonio Williams can't be the X receiver, that's fine. He can be the slot receiver. And, guys can always be traded. Trey Tucker. Guys could always be, diminished to other roles, And at 175, I know we got our right tackle, but the Demetrius crossover right here would be a huge pickup. I wouldn't mind taking him there. But I don't think we need one there. I know there's not a guard on the board better than the guards we have. If we're taking a guard, we need to take one, I believe, in the first round. This is my theory. The Raiders have taken guards in the second round, JPJ. They took him as a center. He's not the center anymore. He's now a guard. Are there guards better in this draft in the first or second round than JPJ? I believe there are. Are there guards in the first and second round better than Caleb Rogers? I believe there are right now. Caleb Rogers upside, we don't know. And the JPJ, just the injury thing, just bothers me, man. He plays so physical that he can't help but get hurt, right? So if we take a guard, I feel like the Raiders need to move up for one and take the best guard in the first round. Um, at least a second if we're going that route. If not, move up for Max Ehenekor. Take him. He's not going to fall to the second round like he did for us, but it would be great if he did. I would absolutely love that. All right, so here's the picks we got, man. We got Fernando Mendoza. We got his right tackle and a guy where Ashton Genty can run the ball. Yes, I wanted Jennings Dunker, but he wasn't there at 67. We got Max Ehenekor, Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, with with Nakobe Dean, yeah, I like that 1,000% wise. Antonio Williams at 102, I think, is a steal. That's a damn good pick. Bud Clark at 117, I think, is there. Takario Davis, if he falls to 134, I will absolutely be shocked. I feel like there's got to be smarter scouts than me that see the upside of this man. And when you put the speed, the upside, you know, the instincts all together, I think we play probably a lot of zone again, or a lot of, at least 5 DB nickel. He fits that. He fits that 100%. And then Bryce Lance, man. Bryce Lance is moving up a lot of boards. And if you look at the athleticism from his brother, at quarterback, if you just go back and watch the tape, yes, I know it was at North Dakota State, but I don't think it matters, man. His separation was, 3 or 4 steps on everybody, on everything I watched. It seemed like every single play this guy was open. And it would be a steal at 175. I feel Bryce Lance goes a lot higher than that, but we shall see, right? I don't need nose tackle. I could take him at 200. I believe he'll still be there. So 2 wide receivers, a safety, a corner. Man, I think we got 4, possibly maybe 6 starters right here. Maybe 6 starters right here on the roster. Maybe not day one, but probably somewhere in the first half of the season, I would guess. 185. Let's see. Best available is Caden Curry at Ohio. I think he just has small arms to me. I think that's going to be a problem. Devin Marshall, I like at an NC State. We could use another tight end, but I feel like they're going to keep the guys we have. And I would trade back in this position right now, right here. But I think Ephesians Prescott, right? You can never have too many corners. If you play a lot of, 5 guys, some of these guys can possibly move to that free safety spot, right? And play that as well with their speed and their size. But 6'3", 196 for Ephesians. I thought he had a hell of a combine. He just looked very fluent in his movement, in his catches. Catching the ball, coming out of breaks, turning and catching. I thought all that was great for him. What else do we got? 196. He has 33-inch arms with over a 80 wingspan. He ran a 4.45. I believe because of his size at 6'3". What I have wrote down. Where's my? I think it's over here. Hold up. Yeah, I believe his size. At 6'3". He kind of I don't know, like be lower, not be so tall. In off man and zone coverage, right? Get lower, play more not so upright, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Gets a lot of penalties. I think you need to work on that, but technique and all that, I think, is solid. Very solid pickup. I think he's a guy that could definitely battle. And at 6'3", with the speed, the wingspan, I don't know why you wouldn't take him at this position. So I'm gonna take him 195. Two receivers, two corners, positions of need locked down. We did not get a safety, but have no fear. I'm going to take a developmental safety that I believe could be the guy. And here we go. That guy is gone. No. Fuck, I should have took a safety. Excuse my language. Damn it. Damn it. All right, so we're going to D-tackle here. And that guy is... Oh, come on, man. Stop playing. Well, both of my guys got ramsacked. And they are no longer here. I'm gonna take a chance, man. I'm gonna go Cameron Ball out of Arkansas here. 6'4", 310, more of a three, tech. But I think he's a guy that could play that nose. He's physical. He can get to the ball carrier. Get to the quarterback. I'm gonna take him there. I like Arkansas Razorbacks. And we have one last pick. That pick is going to be... Who do y'all want? Another wide receiver? No. Desmond Reed. We definitely need a running back. I did not take a running back either. I needed a safety and a running back. Too late for that now. Maybe we could take Taylor Green as a running back. He is 6'5", 223. He plays like a running back. If Taylor Green was there, I would definitely pick him. Well, let's see what we got at running back. Kendrick Law out of Kentucky. Yeah. I mean, he had a 4.3 yards catch. 3-point drop rate. You kind of need a bigger back. 5'6", 174. Ow. All right. Anybody got any suggestions, any picks, any choices? Shout out for the $2 holla. Let's flip and go. Jacob Rodriguez is a steal at 67. There's a lot of people that feel like he's going to go in the second round. So if he goes in the 60 round, in the second round, that's what, 64. So I believe it's a steal. I believe it's a steal. If he falls that far, yeah, I would be definitely surprised. So it looks like, can we get a sneaky guard? I don't think we do. There's a Razorback right there. Fernando Carmona? All the way in the 300s? I kind of like him. He's physical. He was solid in the running game. Carmona was a big reason Mike Washington. But I don't really see him being good enough to compete with JPJ or Meredith right away or Caleb Rogers right away. I don't know how they have him rated 313 though. That's absolutely surprising to me. But let's take a chance and go. I don't know, man. I don't like none of these guys. I don't think any of them fits what we need. anywhere. So I'm going to go running back. And that running back is going to be probably Adam Randall out of Clemson. Adam Randall out of Clemson? Yep, I think that's the guy. 6'3", 232. We need that physical force. We need somebody that can, get those short yardage um, in the tackles. With that big, you definitely got to be a solid run blocker. So that's what we got, man. That's what we got. The rest of this draft play out. So yeah, man, it didn't kind of work out the way I wanted to. I thought some of those receivers would be there in the third round. Antonio Williams was nice. I really thought Ted Hurst was going to be there. He was gone in the third round. So a lot of the receivers I named at the beginning. If you didn't watch the beginning, go back and watch it and check it out. But here's what we ended up with, man. I think it's a pretty solid draft. Let me know, give it a grade. What we got? We got Fernando Mendoza. We got the right tackle of the future. I think he's a day one starter. Yes, I know he's only played 5 years of football, but the way his growth is, we've talked about this a million times on this channel. I think this man he's going to be one of the best tackles in this draft. I really, really feel that. Him and Monroe Freeling, I think are my top two guys when it comes to tackles in this draft. Jacob Rodriguez, we already know is a steal. I think Antonio Williams at 102 is a steal. Bud Clark can play the safety position. He's going to add, speed and size and length that can cover, make plays. Cario Davis, I think has a chance to probably start. Maybe not day one, depending on what he does in camp, but I think he has a chance. With if you're looking at the inexperience, only 1 year and then 1 year in the NFL at Darian Porter Jr. Right? You look at Kai Blue Kelly, Decamarion Richardson. I love DCam. I really had huge upside and ceiling for this dude. Maybe he can find it on this coaching staff. I really hope so. But Ephesians Presock, another corner. So we got two corners that may not be starters day one, but they're going to contribute. They're going to be on the field, definitely on special teams, if anything, because of their speed and size. And then Cameron Ball in the middle, not sure if he gets on the grass day one, but definitely in the run game, you can put Cameron Ball in the middle and, take up double teams. Hell of a kid, hell of a player. Would love him on team. And then Adam Randall, right? 6'3", 200 and what did it say? 30 something, 32 pounds. A big ass running back that, everybody needs a big running back, especially in the NFL nowadays, right? The way things go. You got to have that change of pace. Not that Ashton Genty's the fastest or the biggest, but he's very, solid. I think he's faster than people think with the pads on. What he run in the 4.5s or whatever he ran in. I think he still has good breakaway burst and good speed. So, adding a guy like that again, I think would be a great combination for Ashton Genty for this running game. We got a fullback in the building now. So there's that, right? You got to get through another guy before you get to Ashton Genty. You're not just going to hit this dude right off the rip, as soon as he touches the ball or before he touches the ball like they were before. So again, let me know what y'all feel about the draft. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you want some more of it? Let me know. Let me know. Again, so one more time. For the people coming in, in case you didn't see it, that's what we got. Fernando Mendoza, Max E. Hennecourt, Jacob Rodriguez, Antonio Williams, which I think I would love there. At 5'11", I think he has the size to and the route running and capability to kind of be, like that Armand St. Brown type, not him, but could kind of be, develop into that type of guy. I think all these are contributors, and I feel like if we have a draft like this, as low as the money is on the books because the Max Crosby trade fell through, and we have all his money on the books, I feel like the Las Vegas Raiders, if they were to have to go this route, I think a lot of these guys contribute day one, and you know, Max E. Hennecore, Jacob Rodriguez, Bud Clark, um, maybe even Bryce Lance. Some people have this man sneaking up into the second round. We stole him at what 175. If he goes there, I think that would be definitely a damn good pick. So again, give me your grade. Let me know how y'all feel. But I feel like I probably shouldn't have taken two wide receivers because two of the wide receivers that we got, I think, kick some people out the door and make them walk the plank. I really do. If you're telling me you're bringing in Antonio Williams, where does that leave a lot of slots? I think Jalen Naylor, is up there ahead. But when it comes to separation, to stretching the field for guys like Brock Bauer and Ashton Genty, can Jack Best be that guy? I believe so. But will he be better than the guys we just drafted? So let me know how y'all feel. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, it's been an hour and a half. I'm gonna hop off here. I got pizza that's getting cold. My phone is dying. But man, I appreciate everybody that showed love. I appreciate my mods that didn't have to mod. If y'all are in here, I appreciate everybody that's subscribed to the channel. Everybody that's a member to the. I change it every time. Raider Militia, Nation Militia, you know what it is. But yeah, again, shout out to every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all. I know there's 16 in the building, and I hate to get off when there's this many people, but my pizza is going to be ass if I don't. So much love. Appreciate everybody again for being here. As always, protect yourself, your family, and your mind is the most important thing. And always just win, baby. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Much love.